Hello, my name is Jennifer Wilson, and today I'll be discussing gene therapy medications. I will be talking with Senator Anthony J. Portantino, who represents the 25th District of California. My mother will be acting in that role. Senator Portantino, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Jennifer. Thank you for accepting my invitation to converse. I admire your commitment to alleviating health disparities in California, especially your work authoring the Cancer Care Equity Act, SB 987. The bill is a tremendous achievement, successfully expanding access to life-saving cancer treatments for Medi-Cal patients.
Well, thank you. How can I be of assistance to you?
I'm a registered nurse working with the Genetic Disease Advocacy Group. I am also concerned with the serious inequalities in access to care across our state. Unfortunately, health insurance coverage doesn't guarantee access to experts specializing in rare genetic diseases, nor does it cover costs associated with gene therapy medications, which are currently in the millions of dollars, the most expensive drugs on the market. Gene therapy medications have been proven to significantly reduce symptoms associated with genetic disorders. Others are potentially curative, offering enormous benefits for patients and their families. The curative nature also benefits insurance providers, as lifelong costs of repeated hospitalizations are reduced. I believe it's possible to develop a partnership resulting in a more equitable model of healthcare that saves lives while reducing overall health expenditures. California can be at the forefront in developing this strategy and setting a precedent that can be adopted by the nation.
Well, it seems we have much in common. I agree that great health disparities do exist. Tell me more about your work and how it affects the state of California.
In California, over 3 million people have rare diseases. Current genetic therapies have begun to target diseases that affect much larger groups of patients in the population. For instance, beta thalassemia affects 270 million worldwide and an estimated 1 in 5,000 newborns in California. Thalassemia is an inherited blood disorder resulting in fewer healthy red blood cells and hemoglobin, the oxygen-carrying molecules of the body. Current standards of care include red blood cell transfusion every 2 to 5 weeks. With treatment, the average life expectancy is 35 years of age. This is a picture of Shay, a member of your district diagnosed with transfusion-dependent beta thalassemia as an infant. At 15 years old, Shay came to us with the intention of starting a peer support group for teenagers with thalassemia. Her quest has united over 100 high schoolers statewide and raised thousands of dollars through fundraising for families within the community. Despite repeated absences due to illness, Shay is graduating at the top of her class and has been accepted to UCLA's political science program. Shay dreams of completing a law degree and working to reform healthcare policy. In August of this year, the FDA approved a novel gene therapy, Zynteglo, that offers curative therapy for thalassemia patients. However, the exorbitant cost of the medication at $2.8 million is 30 times more than Shay's family's annual income. There are reasonable concerns Shay and her cohort will be unable to afford this single-dose treatment, further exacerbating existing inequalities for those with inheritable genetic illness.
The cost is incredible and far out of reach for the average family in California. And what do you propose specifically?
Due to the high upfront cost of the product, only patients whose insurers cover the therapy will be eligible to receive the curative medication. Our research indicates 80% of patients with a severe form of beta thalassemia are insured by state Medicaid agencies. The lifetime cost of medical care for these patients is $6.4 million. Medicaid would save $3.6 million per patient by agreeing to cover the cost of Zynteglo. Simultaneously, it would be granting Shay and her peers the freedom of health, the freedom to achieve the career she's envisioned, and work beside politicians like yourself to transform healthcare in our state.
Well, of course, I'm interested in helping a member of our local community, but that's a considerable price tag, and it carries a high risk for the state. If the patient's symptoms do return, the state could incur a significant financial loss. So how efficient is Zynteglo?
Patients in phase 3 of the clinical study receiving therapy have achieved transfusion independence for nearly 2 years. Bluebird, the manufacturer of Zynteglo, is confident in the long-term efficacy of their product. They prepared to make an outcomes-based agreement. In preliminary discussions, Bluebird has agreed to reimburse private and public insurers up to 80% of the cost of therapy if the patient fails to achieve and maintain transfusion independence. These terms will mitigate much of the risk associated with the upfront payment for insurance carriers. Negotiating outcome-based agreements with Bluebird could set a standard for future gene therapy medications. Doing so will require concerted efforts by drug companies, public and private sector insurance carriers, government policymakers, and patient advocacy groups. A formal task force is in creation, and I would be honored if a member of your office would act as our district representative.
Outcome-based contracts relieve the financial burden of the high-priced gene therapy drugs, and Medicaid budgets are restricted and have doubled with increasingly aging population. I believe my office would have an interest in sitting on your next task force.
Thank you, Senator. We would greatly value your input and assistance during negotiations. I would like to invite you to our headquarters in Pasadena, where you can meet Shay and other activists working to reduce healthcare inequalities.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and I will have my office contact you and finalize these arrangements.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.